So let's start with a definition. What do you see as spiritual ascendancy? What does that mean for you?
Well, I think we need to talk in both worlds, the real world, the astral plane, and therefore our higher self, and then this reality, the earth plane. And when I say the earth plane, what I'm talking about is everything that was created in the Big Bang. So if we were Martians, we would call it the Martian plane or the Mars plane. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all,
Yes.
the whole universe is what I'm talking about. Okay. So
Right.
let's start over in the real world. So there's levels to the astral. They have different frequencies. And your higher self can go anywhere it wants to, but it tends to have an affinity for a certain level. So if we're talking about soul ascension, what we're saying is that our higher self all of a sudden feels comfortable and moves up a level on the astral.
Mhm.
Now, what would a higher self do to feel more comfortable at a higher level? Well, it would practice.
Mhm.
So it practices by incarnating in these virtual realities that are at that frequency. I always say this, it's like doing a jet simulator, right? You practice and you crash the jet over and over and over. And then finally, when you master it, you get into the real jet. So that's the typical thing that happens on the astral. Higher selves ascend up the astral by practicing playing video games.
Mhm.
So, and that's, you know, it's hard for us to conceive that our higher selves exist there forever. I know our little brains can't quite understand that. And I also feel they have day jobs. Besides just incarnating, they're doing something. And I've tried to wrap my head around it, and I'm just not sure I can understand. I've asked for, show me what it's like. I don't think I'll finally get it until I'm out of Loren and back over there. So
Right.
so that's soul ascension. Now let's talk about the earth plane ascension. And there's all kinds of really complex definitions of it. But me, I'm very practical. I think maybe the practical psychic might be a good title too. But really, basically, what's happening is our Earth and our solar system and our galaxy are moving into a new place in space,
Mhm.
and that place has a higher frequency. So
Mhm.
it's not so basically, if you stay on Earth long enough, you are going to ascend.
Right.
Of course, what that means again is frequency going higher.
Right.
Now, I kind of mentioned the what I feel is the kind of more of the rule of thumb on the astral where higher selves want to go higher, so they incarnate higher. Well, everybody listening to this did the opposite. Our
Mhm.
higher selves vibrate high, and it has incarnated down low. So this reality is much lower than our natural frequency. And the reason that we're all here is because we're helping pull the frequency up on the earth plane. So
Oh.
I call us light workers. That I kind of put it under a big umbrella called light workers. And one of the results of that is what I call soul sadness. So, we find ourselves in a reality that, well, I know I don't have to. I'm preaching to the choir here, right? You look out and see what other Homo sapiens are doing, and you just can't believe it. You're like, "Man, these people are a bunch of animals," you know?
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Mhm.
And really, the goal of the light worker is to not drop its frequency to the rest of the population, but to keep it high. So,
Mhm.
and that happens in all kinds of ways. You with this show, for example, me and my business, Golden Rose. So when we start paying attention to current events, which I'm gonna segue into here in just a minute,
Mhm.
um, and if it's bringing our frequency down, we're doing not just ourselves a disservice, but the entire ascension process. We have to kind of keep ourselves cleaned off and vibrating high. And again, there are people who have different contracts for the ascension. Think of like journalists or ACLU attorneys, right? They're in there fighting in the trenches. A lot of protesting right now, right? But for me, that drops my frequency. It puts me into
Mhm.
resistance to something, and I
Mm.
prefer to to do it from a spiritual perspective. And that doesn't mean I don't get fussy about what's happening. Of course I do.
Sure.
But when I catch myself, then I have to come back and go, wait a minute. I'm not here to drop my frequency down. I'm here to raise it all up.
Yeah.
So that kinda gives us a good understanding of the ascension process on the astral and the ascension process on Earth.